So, hello everyone. So the introduction is done. I will just maybe complete by speaking about my job. I will. So we have 30 minutes for the talk. Something else. Okay. So I won't speak about code, tools, and anything like that because my job today is to take care of people. Even if I started to code when I was 11 on this machine, maybe you know that, so a long time ago. But thanks to the big agile transition I did, especially at Société Générale Investment Banking, I got to manage a lot of challenges, and including CD implementation, and this is what I will share with you, with some basic tips and tricks, so you will see if it can be useful for you, and you will do what you want. So my first challenge when I have client today willing to go for agility, CD, and so on, they think they have a solution and they forget to think system, to think big. If we are going for CD or agility, it's not just for fun or because we have beautiful methodologies and so on. It's to deliver value for the company, because company have to be profitable, and somewhere it's just to make money. Otherwise, we won't do it. And when we want to go for that, we have to think end to end on the full agile value chain. So CD is not just this part. This is a heat map we did use at Société Générale some time ago before I left. So you see, it's quite complex and not so complicated to implement. We have many things. So when one of my challenge, and I will be honest with you because I'm an authentic guy, so when I meet people really in this CD stuff with Jenkins, with Puppet, with Chef, DevOps people, it's fine, but we cannot forget that we need the whole. It's a full chain, and if you don't think how to fill the pump, how to fill the chain, you will not deliver value for your organization. And what I like to share is when I speak about, or when I talk about CD, it's continuous delivery of value. It's not just a question of tooling and DevOps stuff. It's bigger than that. So this is the first challenge, and that's why today, Rupture 21, it's a coaching organization for a company, because if you want to get the right sponsor to implement CD, agility, and so on, you will need money, you will need means, and you need to convince not only the CIO, but the CEO. Okay, for that, so it's very important to talk to those guys and to go to this guy if you want to make it happen. The second challenge, it's if you want to make it, so today, even in small companies or even in big company, because I boss kind of company, a second challenge I have is to, we can say, break the silo between dev, ops, and even the business guy. Because you have a lot of kind of kingdoms inside the company. So you have the ops guy, you have the ops manager, you have the dev team, dev manager, you have the business analyst, and so on. Because we are, maybe especially in France, in the control cultural model of organization. And when you go for an agile organization, you need to move to the collaboration side, cultivation side, these kind of things. So this is really where I go with my job to try to find things for people to move to one cultural scheme to another one. And we do that with coaching. Today, I use two ways of coaching. And I will tell you, of course, which is my favorite one. You have two ways. So you can tackle the problems to unlock things, to make things happen, so it can be a way, so with problem solving techniques, with lean techniques, you see things like that. Or you can maybe try to create a nice feature for people and really to think solution and to spend your time in finding solution and not in solving problems. When I go, but you see the client, sometimes they still want to have some problem thinking stuff and so on. So when I go for this client, I use simply a lean startup approach. So I guess you know that coming, and especially the lean Canva, thanks to Ash Moria. And when we try to help those people to implement CD and agile things, we use the lean canvas to say, okay, if you want to go even just for a part of CD, so if you want to do something, what will be the first 3 problems you want to tackle or you really want to remove? And then this is the spirit of Lean Startup, when a DevOps team or a CD techie think about 3 problems, say, okay, now you stop there, you just go out of your office and you validate that the company has released this problem before thinking about solution. Then you think about your solution, so what do you want to put in place? You have to do an experience for that, so meaning you need the metrics before to validate the experience. You will learn, and then you continue like that, unlocking things and bringing solution till you have a suitable agile valuation. But this is not my favorite way. Today, what we are trying to use more and more is a strengths-based approach, meaning that we are using things like solution focus. We are using other way of coaching where we push people not to think about the problems they have, but about the features they want to have. Where they are according to this feature, what do they need to do to make just a small step toward this feature and just to make it. It's really different, so it's an appreciative way. And we are trying to find what works well and we do not spend time to dig into what's not working well, okay? So people really, they forget the problem because they think nice feature on what will attract them to achieve something. And as I am an agile guy, I can't miss this thing. Something that works very well in the agile world, it's you know the Agile Manifesto, I guess. So it is this value, individual interaction over processes and tools. And why I use this is I meet too many people on the DevOps side thinking about processes and tools and missing the side of the individual interaction. And I can tell you, in those companies, I see a lot of people from the development department speaking about DevOps, but with any ops with them. And I also see a lot of ops people speaking about DevOps without any dev people. Okay? And the famous, we have, I also work with IT and stuff like that, and I am also part of this community. And that's why I push also those people to co-elaborate something together. And what we use a lot, it's coaching and facilitation, because we think before that there is no, as it was said, there is no single bullet, and people have to co-elaborate, so from the development side and the operation side together, what will be the CD, the continuous delivery chain for them, before thinking about tools. But they need to know each other, and they need to build something together, okay? And for that, so it's maybe if you are in Paris, it's the advertisement of adopt a coach, adopter un mec, sorry, adopt a guy. So it's somewhere for the company to open up, and when we are, you see, working with people, we are coming from an engineering background, and we are maybe not used to that. It's to welcome coaching and facilitation in the organization. It's not a shame to have a coach for some time, and to see how we can make people interact, and to kickstart something. If you get a guy, a neutral guy, a guy from outside, it's really easier than trying to do it by yourself, because sometimes if you really want to make a change, it has to come from outside. So you have different way of coaching. So as I told you, on my way, I'm using only solution focus on brief coaching. And coaching, if I took this image with a guy with a fishing rod, is that usually we are really fetching solution. And in coaching, we say you are fetching a fish, a ready-made solution. And you will go in this kind of conference, you will hire a consultant, they will give you something, but we see that with that kind of strategy, the change will not maybe last. Going for coaching, it's to learn how to get your solution by yourself, so how to get your fishes by yourself. So it's different, and when you onboard a coach, the guy will not give you a solution, but will help you to find your solution. And obviously, at a certain time, you will just you will not know exactly what to do. So you will really be at the gate of the innovation. Then you can ask for a mentor to do an injection and to see how you will integrate something new, like a tools, like a process, and so on. Second thing is to use playful facilitation. It's all what we call serious game, innovation game, and so on. What I put it's the two main references I did use, so innovation game from Lucoman and game storming from Sonny Brown and Dave Gray. Inside that, it's a bit different from coaching, but you have a lot of interactive workshop to make people work together, find solution, and so on. You will get the slide, I guess. It will be on SlideShare tonight, so I will send you the link. And I will give you two examples, even if the picture is not really good. The first tool I use, the first game I use from coming from innovation game from Lucovan, it's called Start Your Day. Start Your Day. What you see there, so it was in a workshop room. We got a big table. A table like that, when you want to go for this facilitation technique, we call that an energy breaker because we cannot move the table. So what we did, we use a napkin like that. On this table, you see what the design of an iteration, a 3-week iteration with the different days. I don't see it here, but we got a cornflakes box just to materialize what an application increment. And this is the 3 weeks, and around the table, you got the guy from the business, the development team, and some guy from the operation side. And together we say, if we want to put this stuff in production, what do we have to do together day by day? And I can tell you that those guys, they just discovered their jobs. And even myself, I discovered that on the ops side, you have many kind of different jobs. And now the dev guys, we are more understanding why the ops guy were complaining about things and vice versa. So they fine-tune together a way to collaborate closely together where tools were needed, where a bit of processes, and mainly where communication was lacking and how to work back together. So there are plenty of other games like that, but it's a nice one. Another example coming from game storming, it's you have to define the role and responsibilities. Okay, so usually we can use a RACI. I really dislike this kind of setting. From game storming, I use another game called Give and Take Matrix game. So this game, you can do it with dev people, ops people, different kind of job, and everyone will declare his or her mission. And to fulfill the mission, he or she will say to the other one, to fulfill my mission, I don't know, a guy from the monitoring side, I need that from you. From another guy, I need that from you. So it's to declare the mutual expectation. So it's a game, you can do it, we can do it with different setup. And then people will co-elaborate a kind of gentle agreement, and you can have a guy who will scribe all of that, and they will just co-elaborate a way of work together. So it's another pragmatic game describing game storming. Game storming, you have around 80 activities like that, and innovation game 12, but more detailed. So plenty of resources. Another thing, when people start to co-elaborate something, then we need to implement that. So new way of working. And in big companies especially, we cannot do any big bang. So what I did in Société Générale, and now I'm replicate this process in other companies, it's just to apply what you will see here, a kind of agile process, but at the organization level to become fully agile or to have a end-to-end value chain. So we use some workshops, so Grow, we can skip it here, it's just another coaching model from Sir Whitmore, but after this, you will have a set of things to do. And what we do, we ask people to, step by step, move forward with what they have defined, and we do iteration, and at the end of each iteration, so it could be 4 weeks, 7 weeks iteration, they will move the maturity of the organization toward agility, step by step. And we use everything from an agile process like Scrum, so iteration. We have a kind of product owner of that. We do a full demo of how the company has changed. We do, I will show you some picture, I guess I have that, some agile fair. We do a lot of things like that. And the iteration, I call that season, like on TV, season 1, season 2, season 3. We don't write the screenplay of a season long time in advance. And then you are, with this kind of scheme, you are moving into continuous innovation. And I started that, for example, at Switzerland in September 2011. And now they are in season 13 or 14, something like that. So it's still ongoing because we still have something to do. And it's an everlasting story. You have just to take care of one thing. It's not to fall or to meet the famous CASP. Maybe you know crossing the CASP. When you want to deploy CD inside a company, it's like an innovation. So you will have, it's a curve of innovation adoption from Jeffrey Moore and Everett Rogers. So you will have the early adopter on the left side. So those people, maybe 15, 20 people of the company, really they want to go for that. You will have no issue. And as a change leader, you can say, okay, it's fine. Everybody is going to that. But then it will stop. Because then you will face another category of manager called inside the early majority. It will be pragmatic people. You will need to prove that it works. You will need to prove that you have ROI and so on. And if you are a change leader, you need to change your strategy for that. You need to find strategy to pollinate what you do. So it can be agility, CD, and so on. And what I use, it's what we call Safari. So Safari, it's coming from an Agile coach. It's quite simple. If you're a change leader, you don't try anymore to push new people to go for that, for this kind of CD or Agile stuff. You just ask people doing it to showcase what they do to those pragmatic people. So it's like, you see, you ask those people to come with a smartphone, with camera and so on. You take them and you will go and meet team who have already implemented agility, CD, DevOps, and so on. And they will speak together. And you will have operational people talking to operational people and so on. And then the change will start to spread because it's not coming from a guru, an agile leader, and so on, but from people, operational people. So this is a nice way to pollinate the change in a small or in a big, and I can tell you it works, and it doesn't cost a lot. It works really, really well. Another thing, it's continuous delivery, agility, and so on are innovation for, I consider it's innovation for a company. And if you want an innovation to spread and to stay, it must be public. It must be visible. If you do it somewhere quite hidden, you will not succeed. So what we did on our side, at the end of each iteration, so an iteration, usually what I do with my client, an iteration in France, it's 7 weeks. And 7 weeks, it's quite simple because it's between the French holidays. So this scheme will not work in UK or in US, but in France you have, you know that, the holidays for the kids, it's every 7 weeks. So that's why we do iteration. Then we have some slack time, then we start again. That's why we can do it for a long time. And we do this kind of what we call agile fair or continuous delivery fair. So a giant event where people will do a demo, will explain what they have achieved. So we are using, you have things like changing the processes. We are using a lot of games. Here it was a demo of, I don't remember if it was Jenkins or, but so you have everything. So you have for ops people, you have for dev people, you have for process-oriented people. You have business guys also coming to this kind of event, and it got a lot of success. And if you're working in a very big company, so if I take a bank, you have the investment bank, you have the retail bank, you have security services and so on. It's also a very good way to invite people from other departments, and then it will spread your innovation also wider in your group. So now with all of that, so it's You just have, I would say, to decide if you want to use this kind of tools or if you want to do it as you want. I just can share what I did, so it works pretty well. It's really part of my job today, and people are coming for this kind of change management smart way of leading people to so continuous delivery of value. And these kind of things, really, I do it with the game, with the series game, with coaching. I do it at all levels of the organization. So I do it with the teams, operational teams, up to the expo. Everyone is okay for that, and it's a way to change the culture of the team. This is what I wanted to share with you today. And maybe you know, it's a little un peu de pub. We wrote 2 books on that, so not really focused only on CD, but more on agility. So don't worry, I don't make money with that. All the money is sent to an NGO dealing with people willing to go back to work. But a lot of stories written by different coaches who work with me at SG or in the French community, and we are writing the third book today, and just to invite people to discover this nice way of changing the culture of the organization and to become a really agile organization. Okay? I hope you are not disappointing because there was no line of code. The code for me is the human people. Too much, too late? Anyway, we can, yeah. Okay, so you have many questions. How long do I stay? I try to stay a maximum, I say 3 seasons. A season 7 weeks, 3 seasons. It's and I have some problem with clients because they don't believe it, they want more. I say, okay, let's see. But my success is to make them autonomous and to start to have this culture of coaching and by themselves. Okay? I'm not a consultant, so I'm not, because if you stay too much, you become part of the system. Okay? So, and you cannot, you see, have some step back, and you cannot help those people anymore. But when I do this kind of things, I firstly ask them to have a kind of what we call a guild of people who will lead the change internally. That's why in this guild, so it can be a CD guild or an agile guild, you need to have the different stakeholders of the value chain. But some people from the ops side, some people from the dev side, some people from the business side. And I help them at the beginning to define really the future, where they are, how to get there, and to start to find people to implement basic things. Okay? Then, how long it will last for a company? Usually when you change the culture, it's a generation. So working for SG is 160,000 people, so maybe it will take 10 years or 20 years, I don't know. If you try, if I work also with very small companies, so I hope it will be shorter for them. But what is really important, if at the end of the first season, they must see some impact. Otherwise, we must stop and we must check why we have no impact. And an impact is how can we see that something is different. But there must be a return at the end of the first season. That's why we try to help people to think small and not to reboot the system, because they won't be able to make it. Because when you are able to do a demo or to make some little impact, then for you to get your sponsor and to get means, money, and so on to go further, they will give it to you because they see something. For them, when I say I'm speaking about CEO, not CIO, so those guys leading a company, so they need returns. And then they will unlock money. They will invest. And every time when you start to have some impact, those guys, they come to this giant fair and so on. They are close to people. So this is also changing the culture of the organization. Because if you go to those guys and you speak about Jenkins, DevOps, Puppet, they don't care about that. It's not in their world. But if they see something, and what is really important, of course, what they will observe people being happy. So people motivated, so people more productive, so people generating more benefit, but with happy people. So it's not a dream today, and you have many companies now thinking like that. You have a very good book also for that, not coming from the IT side. It's so in French it's Liberté et Compagnie. In English it's Free Incorporation, written by Isaac Getz, where how companies can really earn a lot of money by freeing the management, giving the control of people, getting early results, and having a nice look of that. And it's not coming from the Silicon Valley, from big companies and so on. It's coming from, you have some people in the automotive side, or even an example, it's a company doing biscuit or stuff like that. So it's a new style, and you have a lot of now chairmen thinking about that. Okay?